Everyone, and it's good to see you after a while posting videos. This is a WhatsApp screenshot that. Hello, everyone. This is a screenshot my dad sent me in a text from WhatsApp where he was testing a farm advisory bot that I built using the Claude API. As you can see, he's asked a simple question that a farmer would ask in English, but he got a response strangely in Hindi. Plus, he was expecting a response in Gujarati because that's where the farm is located in the state of Gujarat. So the supervisors would enter the text in Gujarati. And what's stranger is that a previous response where the prompt wasn't as elaborate actually gave the answer in English. So join me as we build this project for a farm advisory bot that is deeply integrated into the systems that he uses with Excels and WhatsApp APIs as we go along. And in this episode, we'll set up the project and I'll show you the steps. All right.
So before we begin, what are we trying to do here? We are trying to have farm supervisors on a particular site monitoring a particular crop for a season be able to provide data via WhatsApp and have a bot on the WhatsApp Business API give them advice. Now, the WhatsApp, it already has its, Meta AI, but this is very generic. You'd have to give lots of prompts and, be very specific about things for it to give you a great response. And it's not as programmatic, right? So we don't have guardrails that we can put in or just, drill down to a particular question. So this is the start of me trying to go from just a simple prompt to a more workflow defined thing. But you can see that this is pretty much how I'm trying to do it. These are the initial, struggles when I was trying to set it up. And then once it got started, I just asked a generic question. So this is what I'm assuming a farmer is going to ask. Now, this could, as I said earlier, it could be in a different language. So we will, check all that out. So let's put this down and, start from the beginning. Now, this project is kind of already set up, but if we were to do this from the start, what we would essentially do is we first make a folder somewhere on your computer that's on the main disk or on your documents or some project on there. And what we would need is basically a file containing a webhook. Now, what is a webhook? A webhook is something that listens for things that are coming in from another platform and then acts on those things. I already asked Claude to set up the webhook, and here it is. It started, and since this is June 2026, we have access to Fable 5, which is a Mythos class model. We are not going to use that for now, and here is that file, right? This is webhook.py, and essentially what it has, you need to register on the Facebook Meta Business Suite. Let me do a video on that separately because that's too much here. And now, before we start anything, to build out the whole application, other than the initial files that we need, what we want to do is really use the init command. The init command puts something very important in the code base, which is the Claude MD file. Whether you've put in the files or Claude has put in the files, it allows it to really look at everything, look at the whole architecture, and initialize itself, right? Basically, so we're going to do init, and it's going to work on this and put in this Claude MD file. It's going to check for the file first, and since it doesn't have it, it's going to add one. Now, here, I think there's going to be some options where it tries to give you some extra. Now, this is, I guess, a very good point. The project Claude MD and the personal Claude MD are different things. So the personal Claude.md is something you don't want to share with your teammates or whoever you're sharing this code base with or your collaborator on this project. Whereas the project one is, you will upload it to Git and it'll be on GitHub, and, it should have like stuff like, architecture and coding standards and workflows. Whereas, the personal Claude.local.md, as it says, what you want to do with it personally, and small things you want to specify that say another developer or person on the project does not care to, right? So we're just going to go with the project only, and we choose that. Now, skills and hooks are something we can get into later. So I'm not going to choose anything. I'm just going to write just Claude MD. They both have their specific purposes, and we will talk about that later. And here, this is also super important, which is how you want the Git workflow to happen. Now, if you're just working on a personal project, it doesn't matter. I am working on a personal project, but this will be ultimately used by someone, and I may hand it off. So I will upload it to GitHub, but I'm just going to do feature branches plus PR. The reason is I want Codex or something else like, GitHub Copilot to review what Claude is doing so that I get a completely different perspective. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do testing. It goes through this flow and it says test, manual test via real WhatsApp. I choose the real WhatsApp. That's how we got that particular bot. We might change it later. So we'll do automated tests also, and we just go for now. And I submit these answers. This gives Claude everything to basically make that claude.md file. So there we have it. We have this claude.md file and like a summary of what the claude.md file would contain. This file is very important because it just tells Claude everything it needs to know, even if the owner gets changed or you commit this to GitHub and someone else is collaborating with. For example, it's going to use Haiku because it thinks that for now we don't need a higher model than Haiku. It's going to do language detection because in the scope or how we want to do this, the farmer is speaking Gujarati, so if they receive the text in Gujarati, it must be reflected. Or if it's Hindi, now I don't think I asked for Hindi, so I'm going to probably remove this. So there it goes. We have a ready-made claude.md file that says everything about how the webhook works or is supposed to work, the language detection, the AI model, the linting and formatting, the Git, and the testing, and basically a blurb about what the project is, and we are ready to go. So the next step is we add in the part where the WhatsApp message is received from the user, the farmer, and how it gets fed to Claude, and then how we come back with a response that makes sense. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one.